Hey, welcome everybody to Q and Author. I'm Scott, and I am joined by Travis, author of Super Beast 96.
Right.
Thanks for
Thanks for
joining
having
me,
me.
Travis. I was
Yeah,
really
thank you.
hoping to have like my copy of Super Beast to be like this guy, but it's out for delivery with Amazon as we
Yeah,
speak.
I finally got my copies today.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can hand
How
out
did
to
that?
family members and stuff.
Nice. How did that feel? Did it feel good?
Yeah, I got the proof copy, like a month or so ago, and it has like, not for resale or whatever. So seeing it without that is pretty cool. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, so Q&A, 5 questions from author to author about everything writing and silly things in between. So
Yeah.
I will kick off if that is all right.
Yeah.
Super Beast 96 is a werewolf novel. Am I right in saying that? What is the ultimate werewolf movie, Travis?
Ultimate Werewolf movie. I don't know. I have a hard time with that one because I'm always looking for a really, really good one. Um, I like I don't know if you know the Underworld movies. I always
Of
like
course.
those. The Lycans, I thought they did a really good job because those are all practical effects and everything. Obviously, there's American Werewolf in London. I think that's like the standard.
Yeah, I think it's hard to
um,
get past that one sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I saw one. I think it was more of a low budget one called Howl, where there was some werewolves hunting some people on a train. Was it a train or a bus? But that one was really good.
Nice.
But yeah, I'd probably
But
say that just the classic American Werewolf in London.
nice. I find myself always going back to Dog Soldiers. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
that
okay,
one.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
like a I don't know. It gets me.
yeah. It's been a while, but I remember I have watched that one. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm gonna have to buy it after just reading the title. But Criminal Cove, Home for Retired Supervillains. So I'm a huge comic book fan. I'm guessing you are too.
I am. I am.
Looking at some of the stuff in the background there. I have it blurred, but I have a bunch
Your
of
side.
statues and sideshow statues over here.
Nice.
So what, I guess, made you think of that for a story?
I was working in a retail store. I ran a music and movie store here in Australia, and this was prior to COVID.
Okay.
And I think Umbrella Academy had just aired the TV
Oh,
show,
yeah.
the adaptation of Jared Way's comic. And I was talking to a colleague, and we were just like bitching about how like Marvel and DC is all kind of the same at the moment, and it was like refreshing to kind of have something on TV that was like a little bit different. And we were, and I was primarily writing movies back then, and it was sort of like, oh, what would you do? And I'm like, oh, it'd be fun if they were all old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hang on, that's not terrible. So it
Yeah.
started as a movie script, and then eventually when I kind of got when we were all in lockdown and no one's been able to make movies or work on movies, I was like, I wonder if I could do it as a novel, and it kind
Yeah.
of grew from there. All right, what is it about the horror genre that excites you or draws you in? Because looking at your work thus far, it looks like you're kind of leaning heavily towards horror.
Yeah. I grew up with horror. I remember when I was younger, um, my mom probably shouldn't have done it, but she let me, we'd go to the store, I'd rent a VHS. She would just let me get whatever I wanted. And now I'd always get like Aliens and Poltergeist and, like all the Jason movies, Freddy movies. I just kind of fell in love with the genre. And, with like Super Beast, I wanted to try to do something like fun and campy like that. Throw in some nostalgia, some, late 90s music, because that's when I was in high school was in, the late 90s. So try to kind of pull from that. But yeah, I've always just been a fan of some campy horror and some like just disturbing horror. Like I saw a movie called what was it called? Coffee Table. That one stuck with me for months.
Coffee table, I'll have to add it to my list.
Yeah, it's a foreign film. I can't remember exactly where, but it's one that'll stick with you just from the first, I don't know, 10 minutes. Yeah,
Nice.
kind of eats at you. But yeah, I mean, I like all the big ones too, like the Insidious, the Conjuring movies, that kind of stuff. Anything that can really give you a good scare, I like. Because I feel like for me personally, I've been kind of desensitized over the years, so I'm always looking for the next thing that can actually
It's
like,
hard to find that new
yeah,
shock, isn't it? Yeah.
really dig in there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I guess besides this, is there like a certain genre that you prefer that you want to write in more? Do you gravitate towards like fantasy, horror, something totally?
Genuinely like horror. Horror is pretty much my jam as well. This was like and for a debut novel, a little bit weird, but like the exception to the rule was doing kind of like a superhero fantasy sci-fi
Yeah.
action comedy type thing. But generally, horror would be what I would like to. And then, yeah, the next thing I'm working on is pure horror. So yeah, and horror I think is just one of those things that almost exactly the same. Like my parents probably should have been a little more gatekeepery in terms of what I was watching, but I grew up watching. At the same time, they were very I guess horror positive in terms of I watched a lot of the Universal monsters when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I just showed my kids and they loved it, which was like a win.
Yeah.
Repeating the cycle of irresponsible parenting.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about horror I think that it taps into something, and I'm not 100% sure what it is, but there's lessons in there, and there's at the end of the day, I think it is fun to be scared, and it is fun to scare people.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is
There's a lot of,
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of like freedom when it comes to horror because you can have the really dark horror, you can have the fun horror, you can have the campy, just silly. I mean, there's movies out there called like Zombievers, where it's beaver zombies,
Yeah.
around, you can do anything with horror.
Yeah. The intersections of horror and other genres is like alien science fiction horror. Yeah. There's legs.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a novel out there that you believe that everyone should read? Besides Super Beast 96, obviously.
Horror wise, I think everyone should read The Rising by Brian Keene. So that I found that my wife and I were living in Indiana for a little while, and I went to Barnes and Noble and I was just looking for a book because it's been a while since I picked up a book, and I saw this and I read a little bit about it, and I guess I won't give any spoilers, but the zombies could talk. And right there I was like, this sounds stupid. And then I bought it and I read it and I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah. So Brian Keene, he's like probably one of my favorite horror authors ever. Like anytime anyone asks me about a book for horror, I always recommend something from Brian Keene. So I would definitely say The Rising. Yeah, it was really good. Going back to the whole, I guess, the comic theme, I know you talked a little bit about how Marvel and DC were in the same places there for a little while. Do you have a preference? Do you have a side? Like, are you a Marvel guy, a DC? Do you like the indie comics?
Yeah, I mean, I think I gravitate towards certain characters more than a side. Yeah. I think I really do love Superman and Batman a lot, but I think Spider-Man will always be nice to represent. I think Spider-Man will always be like my guy. Like absolutely love Spider-Man, and I'm a big Fantastic Four fan too, which a lot of people I think have drifted away from over the years. But like Doctor Doom is like my absolute favorite character. I love Doctor Doom. Something about from the costume to the kind of Shakespearean way he speaks and motivations, and he just wants to rule the world, which is not a crime.
Yeah. Really excited for the trailer then that came out this last week.
I am. I really enjoyed the retro futuristic 60s vibe of it. So I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. I've always been a DC guy, but I'm definitely more Marvel when it comes to movies. I feel like Marvel knows the formula for movies, get really good, cast characters and all that kind of stuff. But I really enjoy like Batman is like my go-to for like DC comics.
Nice.
I like Superman, of course, a little bit of Green Lantern.
I think Batman's just had better stories on the ground, like better.
Yeah.
There are better Batman trades. There's a couple of really standout Superman comics, but I think Superman has proven, I guess, challenging for writers.
It's hard when you have a guy that's like a god.
Yeah.
So without him being like an actual god, right? Like he's trying to be this normal guy. He's trying to do this normal job. He's not like Thor, where Thor is like, I'm a god. This is what I do.
Yeah. But Thor has like many faults there. Whereas Superman is kind of nigh on infallible, which
he's the voice.
Which is why I think like Red Sun and stories like that, where they kind of shift the formula a little bit, really work. But at the same time, it's like that's not really Superman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like those other kind of stories more, I think.
What ifs, else worlds, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you approach writing? Do you envision a narrative and you populate it with your characters, or do you sort of let the characters form and speak to you and they guide the narrative, or how does it work for you?
For the few things that I've done so far, the two shorts and Super Beast, it all started with just I guess let me go back. So I did the two shorts that are what people call grief horror, which I didn't even know was a genre because they're a little dark and depressing and that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
Those started with just one sentence, and then I just went from there. With Super Beast, I was like, I want to do something fun that's not this deep dark depressing thing because I did it for myself a little bit like is that the only thing I can write or can I do something a little bit more fun. And so with Super Beast it was okay, I know I want it to be bloody, I know I want it to be in the 90s, and then I just started thinking about like what I did in the late 90s and how some of my friends were. So when you do read it, just know that Jose, there's a character named Jose, he's based off of a real life friend that I had in high school.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, for that it was I knew like the basic outline in my head, and then the rest of it was just kind of writing it down. Yeah. And actually, Super Beast started the very original version of that was a kind of a deep, depressing story that just had 90s music in it. And I was like, I can't have it be like this and have it be called Super Beast. It has to be something fun.
Nice.
I was like, I'll put that away and save it for later. It's kind of the same question, but like, what would you I guess if you had to give advice to someone just starting out, doing their first storybook, novella, whatever, is there like a piece of information that you learned that you would pass on to somebody?
I think there was a I was so my background was film writing, and I did my degree in film writing and minor in literature because I never thought I was that good a writer. But the best advice I ever got, and it's probably the one thing I try to I'll tell anyone who asks for advice, is that I had this one film lecturer, Hubert, okay, who said, "No, just remember, as a writer, as a filmmaker, as any kind of creative person, that you are not special." And I really liked that. And it wasn't like you're bad or anything like that. It was like if you write something, write it whatever you want to read. If you write a book, write the book you want to read. If you make a movie, make the movie you want to see, because you're not special, because there will be a lot of people like you who have been waiting to watch the thing that you want to watch and read the thing that you want to read. And that was really quite profound for me. It was sort of like you don't have to try so hard to fit a mold that anyone else makes. It's sort of like you will find your audience and you will find your people, because there are lots of people who think the way that you do. And that I think I loved. I loved that advice. And it was sort of like, great, just have the freedom to just do what you want. If you're getting rejections, if you're not getting views, not getting likes or whatever, to keep at it, because you're going to find your people. And there are lots of people out there who will think the way that you do and want to watch what you want to watch and want to read what you want to read. So yeah, that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So you mentioned a lot of 90s music and stuff like that. Is there a song that adequately captures the feeling of Super Beast, and is it Super Beast by Rob Zombie?
Yep. So I didn't have a title. I just knew I wanted, 90s music and stuff like that. So I created on Apple Music, I created a bunch of, like 90s playlists and that kind of stuff. And I started listening to Hellbilly Deluxe, just like from front to back.
Which is just a phenomenal album.
And I was like, Super Beast. That's perfect, because once you read it, you'll get some of the other references in there. But I was like, I think that fits perfect. It kind of fits the vibe. It's it's supposed to be a little heavy, but also fun. So yeah, it definitely was that.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think my last question to you is going to be music related too. Like, is there a certain, I don't want to say a playlist, but is there like a certain song that would kind of fit like your writing style?
Yeah. I think I am one of those people. I literally will make a playlist for like every book or every script or every idea. And the song that like just kept getting me when I was writing Criminal Cove was I Fought the Law by The Clash. Just like, yeah, like the shitty irony of
Yeah, yeah.
being in prison, and but it's got such a like a woo kind of vibe, like everything about it summed it up. And there was another song. There's an Australian band called The Living End, and it was "Prisoner of Society,"
Oh, okay. Well,
which is a great kind of '90s punk rock song.
okay.
That kind of vibe, so very kind of grungy or punk kind of music was very much Criminal Cove. Cool. Thank you so much, Travis, for joining me for the first episode. First episode of Q and
Oh, this
Author.
is your first. Oh, wow. Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very,
right.
very, very happy to be here. It came up and I was like, talking to my wife, I was like, oh, this guy's asking me to do video. I'm like, I'm not really good at talking to people, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Nice. No, I appreciate it. It was a good conversation. Now, where can people find Super Beast? Where can people find you on the interwebs?
I'm only really on Instagram. I'm on Amazon. That's where I'm selling Super Beast. I have a Barnes Noble version, just a different cover I did for Barnes Noble. I have 2 shorts on Amazon. They're free on Kindle Unlimited, The Hollow Gaze and Shadows Left Behind. And I don't know if you know who E.M. Peck is.
I do. I know Evan.
He started the Indie Authors
I'm on there as well.
site, and I just posted a short on there the other day called 2 Rounds, so just a freebie. Oh, I'm also on Substack, but I don't really know how to use it that well, so I guess I'm kind of getting used to a lot of this other social media now that I started writing and trying to get my name out there. So
Yeah, same. It's a minefield of trying to figure it out.
yeah, like where are people at and what are they using? So yeah, I'm not a TikTok fan, so I never got on TikTok.
Same.
Yeah, I'm not on Facebook, so big one is Instagram. But I talked to
Nice.
everybody on there, so
Okay, so Amazon, Barnes and Noble, check out Super Beast 96.
thank you.
Thanks.